Hello. I'm looking to do a run through or some kind of analysis of a new book that's come out, The Laws of the Ger Toshav, written by Rabbi David Katz of Israel. And it presents a lot of ideas concerning the non-Jew and how he interacts with Torah. Now, Rabbi Katz, he's been around for a few years, a decent amount of years. He was originally, I think, with the I Vocalize, the Virtual Yeshiva, perhaps, and later with Noahide Nations. I first heard of him through Noahide Nations. I think I sat in on a couple of his classes that he had. And then when I signed up for Noahide Nations, I was taking a block of his classes, the MP3s of his classes. So I became a little bit familiar with his teachings at that time. I didn't finish the course. I got about through maybe a dozen of the classes. Afterwards, I came across, there are people on the internet that are discussing Rabbi Katz's ideas. The Ger, I get Ger is what they refer to themselves as. They run kind of parallel with the Noahide movement. Now, the Noahide movement is the concept of the 7 laws being promoted to the nations. And the Ger, which is Rabbi Katz's idea, is to working with the individuals rather than trying to promote it to the nations, but rather take the individuals that are excited about it and try to get them more developed into the way that he sees it, which is not necessarily concerned with the nations directly. So they have a book he came out with 2.5 years ago, written with his friend Richard Chaim Korfin, and The Road of the Ger. And it went through a lot of his ideas on a philosophical level, not so much halakha, but more of a philosophical level. That was 2.5 years ago. And 1.5 years ago, he wrote the book Sol Mazal, which is a going through the book of Genesis, the Torah portions for the book of Genesis, and looking at them from the perspective of how they apply to the Ger. That's the non-Jew that gets involved with Torah. And I've had the opportunity to go over with this book with my study partner, and it actually, once you think about it, there's a lot of benefit to these books. Both these books have a certain amount of benefit to them, even though they're also very controversial. So when I got the new book, it just came out about last month, and it's published through Amazon in their Create. It's a self-published print to order system. So you order the book through Amazon, they print it for you, and they ship it off to you. So it takes an extra day or two beyond the normal shipping time from Amazon. When I got the book, I got it on the 9th of Av, the evening of the 9th of Av, the afternoon, I guess, before the evening of the 9th of Av, the 8th of Av, I guess you'd call it. So technically, I wasn't allowed to study Torah at the time, so I wasn't sure what to do. I couldn't help myself. I got the book at the locker, and I opened it up, and I thought, okay, I'll look at the table of contents. So I looked at the table of contents, and when I opened up the table of contents right before that, I came across an approbation from Rabbi Zev Leff. He's from Israel. He's from Moshav Metazyahu. That's on the I forget which one it is. It's the northern half of the West Bank, whichever one they call that. But it's a Moshav that's been there since the 80s, and he is the chief rabbi of that area. He's a highly respected rabbi, which gave me I did a double take when I saw this approbation, and I really wanted to read it. I mean, I was just, but tonight I had to wait till the next a day and a half before I could actually start reading it. But so what shocked me was seeing such a highly respected rabbi's name associated with this book. I'm thinking, well, if a highly respected rabbi wrote nice words about this book, I probably need to take it seriously. you know, Rabbi Zev Leff, he's written a number of books, and I happen to be I call it a Zevaholic. I just can't get enough of the guy's work. You know, he's got a Torah portions book, and he has a book on the festivals. There's a picture of Mr. Zev himself, and the festivals discussing the different holidays of the Jewish calendar. And he's got a couple of books on prayer, the weekday Shmona Esrei, and the Shabbos Shmona Esrei. So this guy's got some really nice quality books here. He also, his main thing though is not books. His main thing is teaching. People audio tape his teachings for him. Graphics, audio tapes it, and there's a lot. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of audio tapes available online. And his main thing is the 9th of Av. Kind of ties into me coming across this book on the 9th of Av, or the 8th of Av, whatever it was. And also he discusses the Holocaust, and that's like his main area of study. But he also studies character development. That's another major area for him. And he writes a lot of approbations. And my experience has been, if I find his approbation in a book, I know I can buy that book. It's going to be a quality book. I mean, his approbation in a book is like the Good Housekeeping seal of approval. You find it in a book, and it's top of the line. And he was one of his students. Wrote books on modesty. That's a major thing that he's concerned about. An associate from Chicago, Rabbi Milacek from Chicago, and he wrote a book on trees, all about trees, and it's got glossy color pictures. If you ever wanted to know what a tree is and what a tree is not, maybe it talks about tomatoes, I'm not sure, but it definitely talks about things like bananas and all sorts of things we may not be sure what a tree is. So that's an excellent book if you want trees. Rabbi Leff also writes approbations for other books like the Shkata Pratis. If you can figure this book out, you're more intelligent than I am. This is a very complicated book, and I mean it is compact. It's a thin book, but it is a thick book. And he also writes Approbation for Knowing God's Plan, the Ram Call. But the major area that Rabbi Zev Leff talks about, and I think there's about 150 tapes or MP3s available on the Path of the Just, and he's not all the way through it yet, so there might be 200 when he gets done. The Path of the Just is another area. There's the keynotes and the Path of the Just are probably the two areas that Rabbi Leff takes the most seriously. And this book, he didn't write an approbation for the Ram Call. That would be silly. What he wrote an approbation for was a study calendar available in the back, telling you what to read on a given day to get through it twice a year. You follow that calendar, and it can really develop a person on the inside. And one of these days, I have to finish transposing that into the book so I can actually follow it, because I can't read Hebrew. But it's an excellent study calendar. Is an excellent thing. So I found in the laws of the Ger, I said to myself, okay, Rabbi Katz has turned a corner, or maybe I never saw Rabbi Katz for the high quality that he is. And I look at the book, I open the book up with a certain amount of fear and awe towards the book, because it has Rabbi Zev Leff's approbation in it. So I look at it, and what I'm seeing in here, I see that in the table of contents, there is a combination of things in here. There is a combination of two major aspects. One, it's almost like two different works are in this book. One part of the book is the text. Rabbi Katz wanted to make the text available. That's only available, a lot of the text that's out there is only available in Hebrew. Rabbi Katz wanted the text to be made available that applies to the Ger Toshav. He wanted that to be available in English so people could read it. So people that are interested in becoming Ger can read the information. And I would say that's excellent. I mean, the ones I've looked at, and I haven't looked at it deeply enough yet, but my limited knowledge of the subject, these are excellent texts, and it seems that Rabbi Katz has done a proper job in translating and making this available to the English-speaking public in these areas. And this, by the way, seems to be what Rabbi Zev Leff wrote the Approbation for. I spoke with Rabbi Katz when he was in Chicago a week ago, and he told me that Rabbi Leff helped him he suggested to Rabbi Katz which materials should be included in the book. And it's a really nice selection of material that's available in the book. The other part of the book, and it's interspersed, the chapters are interspersed between these two. The other part of the book is Rabbi Katz's teaching. So he's got the text, and he's also got his own teaching. Now that's the area which is bound to become controversial. He has a lot of ideas that are not what other people are teaching on this subject. He holds it very seriously. I have yet to understand the couple of times I've gone through this book. I've been gone through it, and I've been scribbling in it, trying to make sense out of it, and I haven't been able to connect the text, the rabbinic text that he's translating, with what he's writing in as his teachings, even though he refers to it as summaries and conclusions. He has a text by Rabbi Soloveitchik, an excellent text talking about the visiting of the sick of the non-Jew. Rabbi Katz does an excellent job of presenting this material. And then he has summary and conclusions that I cannot understand how these two things are connected anyway. And that kind of repeats itself through the book. So what I'm hoping to do, I'm not exactly sure how to do it. What I'm hoping to do would be to go over this stuff. I've learned through my Daf Yomi of the Divine Code that it helps to do this online. Even if I'm talking to myself, I'm staring at a picture of myself talking, and it goes out, and maybe nobody will watch it. But it helps me to develop the 2 pages a day study cycle of the Divine Code to do that on YouTube. And I'm thinking about something similar to this idea for going over this book. Now, several ideas might be weighed. One idea is to do something maybe on Skype, not recorded, just simply a discussion. Have a discussion time, a book club type of meeting on Skype, regular meeting where we just once a week or whatever, we go over pages of the book and discuss it. Another idea would be something like what I'm doing here, where I'm in a Google, Google Hangout, and I could invite other people to come in, give them the link. This is what James Rogers does on Thursday evening. He does a Google Hangout, and other people come in and they discuss whatever subject they're discussing. And then a portion of it, whatever they decide, a portion of it is recorded and made available on YouTube for anyone to watch. That's the second idea. And the third idea would be what I'm doing with the Divine Code, where I just talk to myself. I talk into the camera and give my thoughts. And any of these 3 might work. I think something needs to be done to try to make sense out of this book. I have yet to find any Rabbi Katz students who can explain his idea. His students I have not found a student any of his students able to give over his teachings, but maybe if we work together, dialoguing, we can make sense out of it together. One of these three ideas. Let me know what you think. I'm thinking maybe Monday evening. I'm not exactly sure. But one of these evenings, maybe an hour, hour and a half once a week, and just to chit chat. Let me know what you think. Thank you.